Hey, this is Stephanie Ferrara, your empowered creativity coach. As a Christ-centered business branding coach, I help women entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck and frustrated in their business to define their most profitable niche so that they can develop a brand that supports that niche in such a way that it draws those ideal, most profitable clients in like a magnet. And that is exactly what every business needs. You don't want to have to work so hard for your clients to be able to bring them in. You want to be able to have it be really a natural process that as they discover you and they hear you, they read what you have to say on social media, your blog posts, they find you on Pinterest. However it is that they find you, once they find you, they know they're home. They know they have found their answer. And that's what I help you do. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Kathy Sanderson. Kathy is starting a challenge next week that I can't wait to be a part of. I'm going to let her tell you about it, but it is called Breaking Free from Your Pain Challenge. And let me tell you, if you have any kind of chronic pain, you want to listen up. But Kathy and I also talk about how she has moved and transitioned within her business in the focus and how she redefined her niche recently, and things are really starting to fall in place for her because of that change. Here you go. I can't wait for you to meet her. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to hear about what you have going on in your business and the challenge that you have coming up at the end of the month. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about you and your business?
Hi, thank you so much, Stephanie, for having me on with you. I'm Kathy Sanderson, and you may tell from my accent that I am from the UK. I see clients worldwide, and I work with people who don't understand. So they've been to the doctors, they've got the painkillers, and the painkillers haven't took the pain away. Been to the physiotherapists and the exercises haven't taken the pain away. And when they come and see me, I'm sort of like their last hope. They come to me desperate because nothing else has worked. And I'm able to show them the real reason for their pain, the reason why the pills haven't helped, the reason why the exercises haven't helped, and the reason for their pain is what they've experienced in their past. Because they haven't been able to validate it, they haven't been able to let it go.
I think that's fantastic. I know you and I had been messaging back and forth a little bit, and I'm very curious about your methods and how you go about doing this, because I know in my own ministry, that's one of the things that I do as well is freedom prayer ministry, and it kind of has the same I guess results in that when we go back and we look, we go back to where a particular incident happened, and sometimes it's not even like a major trauma, but when it happens as a child, it's interpreted differently and can sink in, and I know the enemy can take hold of just about anything and turn it into something. And so I know in what I do, when I can work with somebody, and once that incident is healed, then you could see it on their face. They look like 10 years younger sometimes, just the release that's happened. Their comments are that they feel lighter, that they almost feel kind of like dizzy sometimes after this has happened, and all it is breaking agreement with that lie they believed about themselves for so long. So how does I know that's how it kind of works for me. How does it work with what you do?
So what I noticed was when I was working with people, they would come to me. So for an example is a lady, and she was in her 60s, I think. She had this pain in her arm. And like I said, she'd been to the doctor, she'd been to the chiropractor, she'd been to all these therapies, and nothing was taking that pain away. And I use a system called forensic healing, which enables me to dig really deep and get to the very root cause. And what actually was creating this pain was the fact that she'd walked in on her newly married husband with somebody else. And her marriage was, of course, over, and she had to move back home with her mum and dad, who were a little bit controlling. We healed that lady who'd had that disappointment, had that shock. The shock was still in her body because, you know, it's a bit more common these days, but 40, 50 years ago, it wasn't that common. It certainly wasn't spoken about. So we healed that shock, we healed the anger that she held towards her ex-husband, and we healed that lady, and her arm never hurt again. And it was just more and more experiences like this that got me looking and made me realize how much everything is related to childhood. And I'm really fortunate, I do the forensic healing and that shows me, but I am fortunate that I am guided to know the exact age that thing happened. So often people come to you and they oh, my childhood was fine. You know, during my childhood, my mum and dad loved me, we did this, we did that. It's like my childhood, you know, we had clothes on our back, we had new clothes, we went on really nice holidays, we had cars, we went and did all the clubs. My mum and dad were together, we had a nice house. But I never felt loved. And no one could ever understand that. And of course, because you see so many other people dealing with so many things. I had a friend at school whose mum never saw her and she had to deal with her abusive dad and all of those things. So my feelings were not validated at all, how I was feeling. And I just felt bad, evil, ungrateful, all of those types of things. It's only from doing this work that I've realised how much I've got in my own way. I held myself back. I wasn't good enough. So doing my business, I was the one who'd always be pulling myself back, enabling myself to be successful because I didn't deserve being successful, because I'd never felt listened to. So people come to me and they've got all of these things and they're like, okay, so let's just see, who were you at this age? They'll go back, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to see the situation. So they'll say, no, nothing. And I'm like, well, what about here? How were you at school? You know, because you don't want to say, yeah, I can see it. Some people I do, but, you know, what was happening at school? What about when you walked home? And then they're like, oh, I didn't want to go home. It was always really like empty, or there was always things going on. And just by unraveling it, they suddenly see. I was working with a client today. I don't normally work Mondays, but and she finally was able to see what we'd been working for a while. Finally able to see that what she's going through is exactly what she begs her mum not to go through. So what we do is we recreate scenarios. It's very powerful, because to be affected by the past, we're not letting that past go. But that past really doesn't exist. All that exists is what's happening now. We choose to hold on to things. So we recreate a past, and we have a nice past. We have a past where we are supported. And sometimes they can't do that, so it's a what if. What if your mum had listened to you? What if she'd believed you? And then she sees her go and have a relationship with somebody who loved her. She was happy. She wasn't depressed anymore. And she's like, that's what I've got to do. But until you can heal that little child and get that child to listen to you, because you're going back and you're reparenting your child, basically. But you show up now, you haven't even thought about that child, that 8-year-old child, that 9-year-old child. So it's about building this relationship. And that child then knows that they've got someone. And you only need one person as a child to know that you're important, to know that you're loved, wanted, that what you say is important, to know that you're cared about. And that's what we do. So we go back and we heal that situation. And then whatever the person's come to me with, suddenly gone. And it seems that simple, but it's so powerful.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's powerful what you were saying about, how we hold on to the past, and a lot of times we don't even realize that's what we're really doing. We think we've moved on, or we've just kind of shoved it down, and blocked it out, and or it was so. I think that validation is so important that you mentioned, because I know with women that I work with, it's so often that they don't even realize that this particular comment that this teacher made or that their parent made, and it wasn't anything that was malicious from the standpoint of they were trying to hurt them, right, with the comment or whatever, but that it stuck, whatever it was. It stuck. That word was so powerful to their identity that it stuck. And it could, there are some that are very drastic, that it is abuse, it is true neglect, but there are some where it's just that feeling of parents are so busy, they don't have time for me, things like that, that then seeps into, well, they're staying so busy because they don't care about me, they don't care enough about me to spend that time with me. And it really does build, as you get older, into that thought of, I'm not important. Nobody sees me. Nobody cares about what I'm doing or what I have to say. Um, and so, yeah, being able to put that truth back into that moment, that very first time that they felt that way. I know,
And what's
what I do is
powerful
huge.
is you and me, we are able to listen to that person as the child.
Right.
Because if you were to talk to somebody now, just, a friend or someone you were to meet, and you were to say, yeah, my parents, they were never there for me, and when I'd come home, I was a latch, I don't know if you have that in America, a latchkey kid,
Right.
and they weren't there, and then they came home after they'd finished work, or all of that type of stuff. They would say to you, yeah, but they had to work. They were doing their best for you because they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to get you a childminder. They had to pay the mortgage, do all these things. You had to have hand-me-down clothes because there wasn't enough money, those types of things. However, that child didn't know these things. And to that child, you can reason adult as much as you like, but that child needs to know that actually, yeah, what happened to you wasn't very nice. And I'm sorry that you felt that way. And what can we do now? What do you need? That's the question. What do you need to make this better? And just by validating how they felt as that little child, taking them back to that age, sometimes that's enough just to let it out. But when they've been told for so long, like, worst one, but the one that everyone says, you find out someone's bullied. Oh yeah, I was bullied at school. Made me stronger. Yeah, I didn't want it in the first place. So, and you've gone through hell. And that's the first thing someone says, which immediately then programs in your brain, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Why am I still feeling scared walking down the road that someone's going to leap out at me? God, I'm so stupid. Oh, there's something wrong with me. It puts you into an even bigger spiral because you just don't feel validated.
Right. Yeah. I know, when I was preparing for today and thinking back through some of the healing that I've gone through, and everything over the last several years, especially, one of the big things, I suffer from migraines, and I've gotten rid of a lot of them through chiropractic and stuff like that. But I had picked up on the fact that it seemed every Sunday when I went to church, I'd be fine until I got to church, and then I'd end up with a migraine by the time I left church. And um, when I realized the pattern there of, oh, it's not just part of my other stuff. This is like, there's something here. It's like, why am I leaving church every Sunday with a migraine? And so it was one day, I probably, after I had recognized it, I had started praying about it and was seeking just seeking the Holy Spirit to tell me, where is this, what's the root here, what's the attachment, what's going on here that's happening. And what I discovered was that I was still holding on to some unforgiveness around some hurt that had happened to actually my mom and her family in their church. And even though it wasn't directly me, it was something that though totally affected our family as a whole, and caused issues later in life as my grandparents passed away and things. There were things that came up that were discovered. And at that time, I was, I don't know, around 20, I think, when some of that stuff bubbled up and came to light about what some of the people in the church knew about some abuse happening in my mom's household. And what I realized was that I was holding unforgiveness. I was holding on to that unforgiveness against the church as a whole for failing my mom and her family, for not intervening. And it was at that point when I was able to, like, oh, okay, I can let go of this. And so I, just walked through forgiving the church, big church, and forgiving the church and forgiving those people who were in that position that knew what was going on and did nothing. And as soon as I did that, those migraines that were associated with actually going to church went away. And so it's very, very similar to what you're talking about. This wasn't something that happened directly to me, but it was definitely an offense that I took on and owned on behalf of my family, basically.
Your family are your main thing, aren't they? You are there to protect your family.
Right.
Think as well as from birth up to age 7, everything we see, everything we hear, everything we experience or overhear or oversee is gospel. We believe it's the truth.
Right.
You would have seen that happening and you would have believed it, and that would have shaped your beliefs and the things. But when you're speaking about forgiveness, I for so long thought, I was in a church background until I was in my late teenage years. And I would hear about people forgiving people and they'd done awful things, like you'd see on the telly a mum forgiving somebody who'd killed their son. I would think, how weak are you to do that you can't stand up for your son? And it's only now that I've been able to see that forgiveness is never about what that person's done.
Exactly.
Making it right. It's just that you're choosing no longer, like with your migraines,
right,
not to be affected by it. Because if we cling on to that anger, it hurts us again and again and again.
It doesn't hurt the person that did it. It hurts us. No. It holds us in bondage. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that other person's carrying on with their life, probably not caring at all. And we are still reliving it every single day.
Exactly.
But in society, every single film you watch is about vengeance, revenge.
Right.
And it's a whole thing, you must hold on to it or else you're weak. If you don't hold on to that anger and you hate that person and you just said, oh, it's okay because I forgive them, that's weak. And that's what society teaches us. It's about us choosing to take back our power. And how we take back our power is by saying, yeah, it happened and what you did will never, ever be right. But you're not hurting me one little bit anymore.
Exactly.
And that forgiveness then, it's like that, you say that weight lifted up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have that stress and you don't have that pain because your body's not holding on to it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely one of those things, our body does hold those traumas, and whether it's a physical trauma or a mental trauma, our body holds that. And until we can release that, until we can heal that, then, it is one of those things it's just going to get in the way of our quality of life and what we do and how we limit ourselves, whether it's limiting ourselves mentally or limiting ourselves physically because of the pain that we're in. I know that for me, what I've seen in the sessions that I've done with women is just sometimes there is a true physical ailment that gets released, and it's gone. I know one of the things that I do with some of the women, I don't feel like, and this is kind of that intuition, I guess, I don't feel like I have to say this every time, but there are some times when I have finished a session with a woman and I feel like I need to tell them, like, okay, your body has just released a whole lot. It's like going and getting a deep tissue massage, and all of those toxins and things that were all pent up in those muscles are being released into your system. It's like, drink lots of water, get your rest. It's like, now go and rest your body, because it needs to flush out what you just released, because it is that physical that physical reaction to the mental side of things. I hope that makes sense.
Like we channel our energy wherever you choose to say the energy comes from. We channel our energy, and we are supposed to be pure conduits, supposed to come through us, no blockages. And sometimes when we're born, we're clear. Sometimes we carry stuff over. But every single thing that happens to us that we don't resolve, we don't let go of, we don't validate, it creates that little block. So if you're going along and you're speaking and doing your sessions and you're taking away that one, you're healing that one situation, then it removes that block, and then that energy can flow. So you probably find, as I do, when you're working with your clients, they might get tingling in their arm, or they might think, because you're lifting that little block, and finally that energy will flow. And then of course that's why you need the water to flush it out. And I had to make sure that I had a toilet in my lodge, because if they're not going to the toilet after the end of the session, you haven't shifted any. Like, what haven't I done? I came across this quote today, and I just wanted to read it to you, because you will understand it, and your listeners. Trauma, it doesn't disappear. It's not validated when it's ignored, and you ignore those silent screams, but they continue internally, and they're heard only by the one that's held captive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Danielle Bernard. And it's so true, because what happened to you, you hold on to, and it's only affecting you. Right. Abusers are still carrying on. You're beating yourself up, and because you don't feel good enough, or because you're so angry with yourself, sometimes that you didn't tell, sometimes that you told and you were I'm just writing a blog on this. Sometimes you're told and you're not believed. So not only do you have that abuse, but you have the abuse of people not even believing you. And sometimes if you're told, you got gifted, you got taken away from your family, so you were punished again. But by telling yourself that you're not good enough and constantly beating yourself up, it's creating more and more things for you to beat yourself up with. The law of universal laws. And it's such a sad thing, and you watch people and you know that they would benefit greatly just by doing this, but yet they still go to the doctors, and the pain becomes their life.
Yeah, I think that's probably the hardest thing with what we do with what both of us do, is that you can have just a normal kind of conversation with somebody, and you can see that they could really benefit from working with you, but you can't really tell you. They've got to come to it to themselves. They've got to come to the realization themselves, because I know that I've had a few people that I'm like, come on, just let me, please just let me do this. But it's not going to get anywhere unless they're kind of led to you. I feel, and that their mind is finally opened up. And some people do have to get to that point where they've tried everything and this is the last resort. And unfortunately, instead of the first resort, the first choice. But thankfully, at least they do get to us eventually.
Yeah, finally get to us. And
right.
They speak to friends who've worked with you, and they come and recommendation. I mean, they're the best, aren't they? Because someone recommends you, then they know it works.
Yes. So tell me about, I know you recently did a little bit of a shift in your business with who your focus is and where you really want to go with your business. Is that I think originally you were really looking at like business owners and things that were blocking them from success. But as you have have done your market research, and that's something that I like to pull into our discussions is that business side of things, because this is a business for you, and you do this. You do it in person, and you offer classes as well, and then you said you work also, like you would do something over Zoom with somebody. Is that correct? Would you do that?
Yeah, I've got group coaching and individual coaching.
Awesome. Yeah. So, but I know you just recently shifted kind of your focus of who your target audience is. And one of my specialties is that niche and branding and pulling together who you're really your ideal customers are. And you've shifted a little bit. So tell us about how that happened for you.
Totally shifted, because when I came into this, it was like, who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? And it's going to be people who want to make money. And I've realized though, that wasn't my passion, because anyone who works with me will improve. But I really like working with the people who've felt the pain, and I have amazing results with people with fibromyalgia. So I had a lady, my first experience with fibromyalgia, she came to me and she was literally a day away from ending it. She was so down. Her mum was driving past. I've got a sign outside my house. I'm on a country road. It's a busy country road. And the people who need to see it see my sign before I went online. And her mum contacted me. She came to see me. She would, when people come and they are just so down, their energy is just so full. And she worked and she had a great result. And she kept seeing me. So every time she'd come, her energy was brighter. She'd had some abuse, she'd had things happen to her, she had some trauma. By the end of it, she had bought herself a little car. She had taken her driving test and passed. She discovered that she was quite spiritual. So she actually never thought she would, but she was taking the podium and she was holding meetings, giving messages to people. She was going to other fibromyalgia support groups and telling them how it could be. Oh, and I got to thinking, who gives me the most pleasure?
Yeah.
She had such great results that her mum and her aunt came as well and had great results. I thought, a lot of people are coming to me now and they've got fibromyalgia. It also led me to realise I had fibromyalgia. But because I'd been working on myself solidly for 4 years, and I had a lot to work through, because in that 4 years we lost 12 babies. So I could have gone really, really low. And if I hadn't have already got into this and known, I think I would have. I mean, this year we're going to see my daughter sing at a very big concert hall, me and my husband. But last year I said, no, it's too much money, I'm not going, I didn't want to go. And I realised I was still depressed because, I'd lost another one just before and found out I was pregnant again. So if I hadn't had this, I know that I would have been in severe pain. When I was 30, just before I met my husband, my doctor kept saying to me, you need to stop working so hard or else you're just going to live here at the doctor's. Because I worked a full-time job, weekends, evenings, because I wanted to keep my house and I loved the lifestyle I had. So the pain, I lived on painkillers. I had debilitating migraines that I'd have to go and sleep. And you just get used to it because you're told you're getting older. And it's not even that, is it? It's because your body's picking up more trauma and you're not dealing with it. And then you've still got the other stuff there anyway. I've realised that it isn't normal to feel cold all the time. It isn't normal to feel when you go outside, your fingers burn, all of those things. So I looked into it and I thought, well, I'm making great progress because I haven't had to stop work. I'm still getting up in the morning and doing all of this, and I know that I can show other people. And that's why I shifted. And you probably heard me, because that is my passion.
Right.
Showing people that life doesn't need to be the way it is. just by simply healing your past. You don't need to take any painkillers. You don't need any operations. I was working with a girl and she just had a gallbladder out. I'm like, but you're so angry. If I'd have met you last year, you wouldn't have even needed your operation because we could have worked on that anger. You wouldn't have needed it.
Right.
You know, it's a placebo, isn't it? An operation, because you've had it taken out so you know that you're better. And then everything comes on top of you like 2-3 years later because it just can't keep out. And then it's like, oh, there's something else, but it can't be gallbladder.
Right.
It's something other thing. Yeah, to show people that it doesn't have to be that way, and you don't have to put anything in your body. You don't have to abuse your body anymore. You just have to let it go.
So I know you have a challenge coming up at the end of the month. Can you tell us about your Break Free from Your Pain challenge?
Yes. It's on the 27th of January. And I ask that people just give me 20 minutes of their day for me to show you why you have your pain. So if you're like the most people who come to see me, like I was, you know, you're going to the doctors, you're constantly getting painkillers, you're constantly getting more pain and going to the doctors, and you're feeling like that hypochondriac. There's another way. And this way is I will show you to find out where your pain came from, why you have your pain, and the benefits of working on this working on the reasons so that you won't be pain free, so you can be pain free, you won't be in pain anymore. And just show you how possible it is, show you some techniques to alleviate that pain, to lower that pain. You know, it may be that it takes the pain away, but it's definitely going to take the pain down.
That sounds amazing. Really
Very
does.
excited to see the results, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I will definitely post the link to sign up for your challenge with this video. And is there anything else that you want to share? How can we follow you? How can we get in contact with you? What's the best way to connect with you?
If you want to send me an email, it's info@healingfromwithin.co.uk. I'm on Facebook, Healing From Within UK. I have a group. It's called Overcoming Childhood Experiences and Trauma, and it's a support group. And we can put the link in for that Facebook group, and you can come and you can just linger and you can watch, or you can be involved with the family. It's a very family group, and we help each other, because if whatever you've experienced, other people will be able to help you. What you're confused about, people will be able to guide you to what's helped them. And of course, I can help you as well. If you've got your pain and nothing's worked, just come along and give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. If anything, you'll learn some tips that are going to help you throughout the rest of your life.
And that's really what to me, that's really what it's about with what I do, is that let's get you through what you've got going on right here, what's top of mind. And then let me also then share those tools with you that you can carry with you, and you can do this, and you don't have to come see me necessarily every single time. You know, like, you learn the tools as you go and as you're getting healed, so that then you start recognizing, oh, that might be this. Let me pray about that. Let me do this. Let me walk through this, you know, oh, is there somebody that I'm holding negativity towards? Maybe there's somebody I need to forgive. And so you get those tools that you can then implement on your own more. And, you know, my goal, and I know, you know, it's not, this isn't part, I won't say this isn't part of it. This is part of my business, because it is something that I do with my clients. If I realize that they feel stuck, let's really work through, and we can go and attack that from the standpoint of freedom prayer. But my goal in ministry at church where I do this is that eventually you don't need me anymore. You know, we've gotten over the major stuff, and now you have the tools where you can walk this out on your own. And maybe you just have to come every now and then because there's something that you can't quite see. You know, sometimes you need that outside person looking in to see what's really going on.
That's the aim, isn't it, of a good healer? Because, you know, if people keep coming back to you every month like they do to a chiropractor, when before I started doing this, I was going to see my chiropractor every 3 weeks. I don't need to now. I could have still been seeing that chiropractor every 3 weeks. You assume that's what you're going to have to do. Yet somebody will come to me for one session and expect to be cured.
Right.
You know, and never mind the fact that you've got however many, at least 40 years of accumulated, you know. But yeah, if you can work with somebody so that they only need to come and see you like a car, like an MOT once a year, that's your job, isn't it? That, you know, that's the success of it. That's what you want. You don't want someone coming back every, you know, okay, it's a regular income, but it makes you feel like you're not doing your job.
Exactly. Right. Yes. Well, very good. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing what you've got going on. I have a feeling I'll be in your challenge just because I really want to learn more. I think this is fantastic, and it's you know, like I said, it's kind of on the same wavelength and path that I'm on with some of my ministry work, and so I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about it.
I'd love to have you there. Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. I do appreciate it, and like I said, the link for the challenge, I will post that with this video, and also the link to your website. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Whew, that was fun. I love how what she does and what I do like gels so amazingly. We do very similar things with very different approaches, but towards the same end. Man, healing those pains and those hurts that have been there for so long and buried, and just how those things that are just stuffed down, like we decide it doesn't matter, whatever, we just push it down, we don't want to think about it, just how much impact that has on our life and on our physical bodies. I really hope that you will choose to join her challenge next week, rather. Sorry. You can catch up with Kathy at healingfromwithin.co.uk, and I will drop a link to her website and her challenge in the comments of this video. I hope that you really enjoyed this and got a lot out of it, and that it has opened your mind to just how much our emotional state and what we have been through in life, and just even those things that have happened to us as kids that we think it was nothing, but it really has had a lasting impact on us. I hope it's opened your mind to how much that's impacting you as an adult, and that you'd be willing to just take the chance, do her challenge, and just see what happens. Man, I mean, it can't hurt, right? I look forward to seeing there, because I will be in her challenge as well. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Catch up with me at Coach Stephanie Ferrara on Facebook and on Instagram, and at empoweredcreativitycoach.com. I'll see you later.